What's going on, everybody? It's Matt. I'm going to give you my Week 7 picks and predictions for each game this week. First, we have the Steelers going to the Bengals for Thursday Night Football to kick us off. Steelers right now are in first place and favored to win the AFC North. A close second is the Ravens, so this game does mean a lot. Just for this game particularly, Aaron Rodgers is going up against Joe Flacco, and if you combine their ages, it equals over 80, which is wild. But for all you Bengals fans out there, Joe Flacco does have a lot of experience taking on the Steelers. He's beat them 11 times. He's actually has a 500 record against them, so that's pretty good considering Steelers in the last 10, 20 years have been a really good team. One thing to note is to keep your eyes on the health of Trey Hendrickson. And if he plays, I think this game stays within one possession. Makes it a field goal kind of game, I feel. Because Aaron Rodgers, he does his best work statistically this season in a clean pocket, just like most quarterbacks. So if Trey Hendrickson can come in here and mix things up, it'll make the game a lot closer. But if he doesn't play, I think the Steelers could win by at least a touchdown. So got to keep an eye on that. Plus, the Steelers have 17 sacks already on the year. And if they can't hold up the line, Joe Flacco, he's one of the worst quarterbacks against pressure this year in the NFL. Next game, we have the Rams and Jaguars. I told everybody in my last week's video to take Seattle money line over the Jaguars, and the Jaguars were at home, and I was right. The Jaguars aren't as good as their record. They have issues with Trevor Lawrence, and I think the Rams, especially last week, Puka Nacua going down a little bit, that game kind of started slow for them. I think they wanted to coast a little bit because they knew they weren't playing Lamar Jackson. But then once Puka got healthy and right, there's an article here on the bottom that shows him hyping up the sideline because they couldn't get past the 30-yard line. And then all of a sudden they scored 2 touchdowns in less than 2 minutes and blew the game wide open. And I think the Rams are going to continue that momentum. They're one of the best 4-2 teams. I think they're a top 5 team right here in the NFL. And I think they win this game by at least 3 points. I really like the Rams here at minus 2.5. Saints and Bears, I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. Did you know the Bears are averaging 25 points per game? That's one of the top 7 best offenses in the NFL. But interesting note that I found, the Bears have played 4 games on short rest with Caleb Williams as their starting quarterback because they did just play on Monday Night Football. And they are 0-4 straight up in those games, averaging just 15 points in those matchups. Spencer Rattler, he's been frisky, he's been fun, he's been competitive in a lot of these games. He began his career 0-6 against the second half spread. So if they're losing, watch out, because in the second half, he might lead a game-winning drive or a game-tying drive because he's 5-1 in the second half against the spread. He's only lost to the Bills, which is fair. So 5.5 for Chicago. I think that's way too many points. Show some respect to the Saints, even though they're 1-5. They've been keeping things close. Next, this is going to be a really weird game. I'm going to avoid betting on this game at all costs. The Dolphins, it's all falling apart again. Tua, they tried to have a players-only meeting, and then when they interviewed him today, he said that certain players weren't attending, and it's just a hot mess express down in Miami. They're 1-5. The Browns, they're playing hard. Their defense is still pretty good despite their record, and I think they get the win here. I think Dylan Gabriel finally gets the win. Fannin, the rookie tight end, has been playing really well. Judkins, I think this is a really good breakout game for him. I don't see it going over 40.5. I think it's like a 23-10 kind of game. I think the Browns blow this one open. This game, there's not much here. New England minus 7.5. They are rightly favored here. The Titans just fired their head coach, Brian Callahan. My Raiders whooped on them. Cam Ward, he didn't look that great. He threw for a lot of yards in garbage time. But there's this thing in the NFL or in pro sports, when your head coach gets fired that very next game, what's going to happen? A lot of players like to show out or show up. They just don't have the talent, the experience, especially in the quarterback position to do anything like that. I think they get stomped on at home. I think Drake May, he's finally figured it out. They're undefeated on the road. 7.5 is kind of a lot. Anything over a touchdown I'd be weary of. Maybe buy it down to 6.5. But I think the Patriots definitely take care of the lowly and woeful Titans. Next, this is a very interesting game here because not only is it a divisional game, the Chiefs, right? They'll probably get Rashee Rice back. I think he served his 6-game suspension in this week 7, so he should be back. The spread is 12.5. This is wild. Patrick Mahomes in his career against the Raiders has a passer rating of 106. He's thrown for almost 4,200 yards, 33-5 touchdown interception ratio. He's beat them 12 out of 14 times. And I found this cool little excerpt on the bottom here. As a favorite of a touchdown of 7.5 or more since 2020, Mahomes is 36-2. And those two are against the Raiders where he lost. So it's kind of interesting. I don't know if the Raiders, to be honest, the defense is going to show up. You know, Max Crosby's going to be chirping in Patrick's ear the whole time. But they would have a chance if it was in Vegas. But the fact that it's in Arrowhead, they don't really have a chance. Plus, Geno Smith, until he can show me that he can not turn the ball over and be loosey-goosey with it, that'd be a different story. But I think they're going to shut down Genty and force Geno to throw it. I think he's going to be in a lot of trouble. I don't know if I'm going to take in 12.5. I think it's like 10. I think or 11. I'm thinking 31-20 kind of game here. Next, Eagles and Vikings. Eagles have lost back-to-back games after starting the season 4-0. The Vikings, they're still trying to figure things out. The quarterback position, for all you Vikings fans, J.J. McCarthy, he's been practicing this week. But with the quarterback in his place, Carson Wentz, what do you do? You know, you've been pretty successful moving the ball with him. So a lot to be desired. The quarterback position, you can only hope that they make the right decision. But I don't think it matters. I think the Eagles, there's no way the Eagles lose 3 in a row. You have Jalen Hurts, you got Saquon Barkley, you have Zach Bond on the defense, 1.5. Take the minus 1.5 here. Panthers and Jets. You know who's getting fired next? Aaron Glenn. If they don't win this game, if they get blown out 0-7, I could see him getting fired next week. I'm surprised Carolina's not favored by more. See this guy right here, Rico Dowdle? He's been putting up 200-plus all-purpose yards, including running, receptions. He's been scoring all over the place in back-to-back weeks. You see what he did last week versus the Cowboys? You see what he did the week before? I think Bryce Young has finally figured it out. We saw Terriota McMillan catch 2 touchdown passes. The over-under, it's low, 41.5. I think it honestly goes over because the Panthers' defense is not that great. I think Justin Fields is going to have a gut check, and I think he's going to find the Garrett Wilson connection in this game, especially after Garrett Wilson was chirping off Aaron Glenn's ear. But I definitely think the Panthers win this by at least like 3 or 4, like a 28-24 kind of game. Next here, this is probably one of the most interesting games on the day. We have the Giants and Broncos. I'm so tired of hearing about Scatterboo and Jackson Dart. It's annoying. It hurts. It's all over the media. They take on a Broncos team that won an ugly game in London versus the Jets. But this piece of information that I'm going to share with you right now, I think, is the deciding factor on who wins this game. The Giants have had a ridiculous 110 rushing attempts in their last 3 games under Dart. It makes sense because he's a rookie and they don't want to make him throw if they don't have to, especially when you establish the run, and it's been working so well. And they had 71 rush attempts with Russell Wilson, and they were 1-3, and it wasn't working out very well. And in recent weeks, the last 3 weeks, they've been doing it 44.8% in terms of rush success. But little do they know, the Giants, that the Broncos are allowing the 6th fewest rushing yards. They've only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns all season, and this is a get-right game at home. I don't know if Jackson Dart's played at elevation. He went to Ole Miss, for example, and Cam Scatterboo played at Arizona State, pretty flat out there in the desert, pretty close to sea level. Elevation does take a toll on your body, especially if you're going to have to run it 20-plus times a game. I think the Broncos win this game. I do not think they win it by 6.5. I think they win by 3 or 4. I think this game stays lower scoring. I think you're going to see a lot of J.K. Dobbins and a lot of R.J. Harvey and a lot of Ingram just dump offs to kind of move the chains. I think this is going to be like a 23-13 kind of game here. Colts and Chargers. The Colts were just in LA, and they just played the Rams like a couple weeks ago, and they almost beat them if it wasn't for Adonai Mitchell dropping the ball on the 1-yard line. And I think the Chargers last week they showed that Justin Herbert has that dog in him. I really was writing them off last week. I didn't think they would win considering their problems at the offensive line. But look what they're doing. They're shopping for a running back. Haskins and Vidal, I don't think they're going to be the long-term solution here. I think the Colts will take this one. I love the total here of over under 48.5. It's perfect conditions. It's going to be basically indoors. I love this. I think I'm thinking like 28-24, like 31-27 kind of game here. Give me the Colts. This is going to be a really good game too. NFC East matchup, Commanders and Cowboys. Commanders, man, Jaden Daniels, hold on to the ball, dude. You guys would have won last week. Cowboys can't stop a nosebleed on defense. Dak Prescott's throwing for his life just to keep these games competitive. The over-under 55.5. I'm recording this video on Tuesday. This number is just going to go up. We're going to see by how much. 55.5 already seems like a lot. It's a toss-up who wins this one. If I had to lean anywhere, I'm leaning the Commanders just because the Cowboys defense haven't done anything. They haven't stopped anybody all season long. The Commanders have a lot more to play for, and I feel like they have a brighter future this season. So I'm going to give it to the sophomore, Jaden Daniels, Debo, and the crew to take care of the Cowboys in Dallas. I'm not really going to be too focused on this game. Packers and Cardinals. I think the Packers, coming out of the bye last week, were a little bit sloppy. They kind of kept the game close with the Bengals and then kind of pulled away late. Cardinals are still figuring some things out at the quarterback position. Jacoby Brissett looked really good last week. They only lost by a touchdown, I think, versus the Colts. But the Cardinals are doubling down on Kyler Murray. They say once Kyler Murray's healthy, he's our quarterback. They're committed to him. If he plays this week, keep your eyes on that. But Jacoby Brissett, he's frisky, he's fun. He might keep things interesting. I actually like him better than Kyler Murray in this game. I hope he plays. But if Kyler Murray plays, I would take Green Bay minus 6.5. But if Jacoby Brissett plays, no. I would go the other way with that. Sunday Night Football, Falcons and 49ers. If this game was, if I was looking at this matchup week one, I'd be hammering the Niners, but I'm not. The 49ers are literally all in wheelchairs. Every week somebody falls off the wagon, unfortunately. The Falcons shocked the world a little bit yesterday on Monday Night Football by taking care of the Bills. This guy right here, Bijan Robinson, he's also on my fantasy team. The only players in the NFL history to have 450 rush yards and 300 reception yards in the first 5 games of a season, Thurman Thomas. He won the MVP. If Bijan keeps this pace, he will not only crush the all-purpose yards record, but I guarantee you he will win the MVP. And who wins this game? It's in Santa Clara. I really like the over. Mac Jones can spin it. Brock Purdy, I haven't done my homework on him, but I think the way Mac Jones is playing, he keeps them competitive. He did have a rough start last week, but he had to go cross-country to Florida. So whenever West Coast teams have to go to the East Coast time zone, it's always interesting. But this could be a get-home-right spot. But if the Falcons could shut down Christian McCaffrey, it's ball game. So I really like the Falcons here, plus 2.5, and the over of 47.5. This is our first of 2 Monday Night Football games. We have the Buccaneers going to Detroit to take on the Lions. The Buccaneers are scrappy. I love Baker Mayfield. A lot of people do. Detroit plus or minus 5.5. I think that's way too much. I like the over of 52.5. And I found this little excerpt on the bottom that both of these teams are scoring at least 27.5 points per game. So they say that they're on average going to score 53 or more, and the over-under is 52.5. So it's right on cue. In week 7 or later, the NFL has only seen 3 of these games go over the last 4 seasons, and they've all been involved with the Lions. 2 went over, and Detroit lost all 3 games outright, with the 3 averaging 60 points per game combined. So what this tells me is that this is going to be a high-scoring game. Can the Buccaneers, the depleted Buccaneers at the wide receiver position, get enough possessions, especially like passing the ball, to keep up with the Lions? That's why Detroit's minus 5.5, I believe, is just because the injury issues with Tampa Bay. But I think they can do it. Baker Mayfield always finds a way. Cade Otton looked really good. He's a streamer on a lot of people's fantasy lineups. I think they can do it, honestly. I would take a Buccaneers plus 5.5 here, big time, and the over. Our last game of Monday Night Football is going to be Texans and Seahawks. And this one starts at 7. The last one the one before this starts at 4. So you're going to be able to watch both games. Unlike the last Monday Night Football where they started an hour apart, these ones are staggered. So you're going to be able to watch both from start to finish, which I love, which tells me that both of these games are going to be competitive and they want everybody's eyes on the TV at all times. I don't think they were accounting for Atlanta to beat Buffalo. That's why they put it at 4 o'clock here on the Pacific West Coast. But the fact that these are different time zones and with a lot of time in between, I think that's a telling sign. In terms of who I think wins this game, I think it's going to be Seattle. On the road, Seattle is 10-1 and 7-3 against the spread, but they're only 4-8 straight up at home. And just the way Seattle's playing and the momentum, especially coming off of last week, Jackson Smith and Sam Darnold, the way they're playing, I can't see them losing to the Texans. Yes, the Texans are allowing 12.2 points per game, but in Darnold's career, he's 14-7 straight up and 13-6-2 against the spread when facing tough defenses like this. I just think the Seahawks have too many weapons, and they figured out a synergy that works on offense. And their defense is no pushover. The 12th man is a legit thing. The only way the Texans win is if they can protect C.J. Stroud, because last year and a little bit to start this year, he was getting sacked like crazy. If they can protect C.J. Stroud, that's the only reason, the only way the Texans have a chance to win here. Because once Sam Darnold and the crew get going, I think it's going to be lights out. I'm not taking a spread here. I like the over of 41.5. I want to say thanks for watching my video, everyone. I really appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks.